What's up guys, super quick video. Let's talk about kettlebell jerks. And the kettlebell jerk really is one of my favorite movements, and this is just a session I did the other day, and I did the most classic old school workout imaginably, and it's called running the rack. And you can do it either as a ladder or as a pyramid. So you start with the light weights. Here I started with 16s and did 1 minute sets and worked myself up to 32s in 2 kilogram intervals. And then I did another round. So this is what you see is the second round. And again, I started with the 16s and went up to the 32s. So that's a ladder. And you can also do it as a pyramid. So you go up and go back down. And it doesn't really matter which one you do. So if you do the math, I did 18 total sets of 1 minute. So one round would be 9 sets of 1 minute. And that's really the thing is, this is just to accumulate volume. And the cool thing is you're working with different weights, so different intensities. And that means you're also going to work at different paces, because the lighter weights, you're going to lift them faster. And the lower weights, the higher weights, the higher the weights get gradually, the lower your pace is going to get, and you're going to really get a feel for the movement, for the technique, for the pacing, and you just have a lot of variability in the workout, which is great for skill acquisition. And jerk is a high skill lift, and it really, in my experience, thrives on volume. And that's something like a lot of people ask me about, like the secrets of the Russians or whatever. And obviously I'm always trying to pick things up, and I'm always studying and watching videos and listening to people from all over the globe. But one theme really, especially with high level jerk athletes, is they do a lot of volume. So jerk really responds very well to a lot of volume, because long cycle is really, of course you also have to do a lot of volume, but long cycle responds really well, in my experience, to quality work. So you're doing, for example, 10 total minutes of work or 12 total minutes of work, and have it be at a really high intensity. You really like pushing it, and that's like the classic VO2 max training I've been talking about, right? And it makes sense, because long cycle is really reliant on your VO2 max. And jerk, of course, also has a large cardiovascular element, but it's a lot of skill and muscular endurance. It's really the power endurance in the lower body. So each bump, when you like extend the kettlebells up, is like a jump. It's triple extension, and then you catch it in the under squat in an athletic position. And also you need the muscle endurance in the upper body, in the triceps especially, also to the shoulders, in the shoulders to some extent. And that specific muscular endurance is really something you develop through the reps, and you build the mitochondria, and also you develop the skill of becoming as efficient as possible and really expending the least amount of energy possible on each rep. And that's why jerk, you can really push the volume. So just to give you an example, Johnny Benitez, the kettlebell sport nerds are going to know him, is one of the greatest kettlebell sport athletes and talents of all time. And he did a similar workout at this exact gym. So at this gym, the bells go up in 1 kilogram increments. And he started with the 12s, I've been told, and worked himself up all the way to the 45s. And I think he did, I don't know how many reps, or if he did a minute at each weight, but that's a lot of volume. So 12s, 1 kilo, 1 kilo, 1 kilo, up to 45s. And I think he went back down again. I don't know. But like that's really the recurring theme with the people who are really good at jerk, they do so much volume, so much volume. Another one of the Russian greats, Suleimanov, he is known to do 400-ish reps with the 32s in an hour, which is just crazy. And yeah, that's the thing. You can use different weights to accumulate the volume. And there are different approaches. Like there is like, for example, Suleimanov says he likes to train with the 32s because that's the most specific. He basically only lifts 32s. And a lot of other people, like I said, use a variety of weights. And obviously both approaches have produced world records. So you can't really say one is invalid. And yeah, that's another workout, for example, I've done is when I was training exclusively with 24s. I also got good results that way. I did, for example, 20 sets of 1 minute of work, 1 minute of rest with the 24s, which is also a brutal workout, brutal workout. And here I didn't time the rest, so it worked out to maybe 1 minute in the beginning, and then with the heavy weights probably 2 minutes, have a drink, maybe rearrange the weights, chalk your hands and get back to work. So it's really just about getting the reps in. You gotta do the reps. Tom Platz, the legendary bodybuilder with the freakish legs, who was really a proponent of high repetition squats. And which is why I'm a big fan of him, because I also love high rep squats. And he said, you gotta do the reps. The reps are the most difficult thing to do. It hurts, you can't breathe. And that's really where the man gets separated from the boys. And that I remember when he said that about squats, it really resonated with me, because I thought, man, that's like really the same thing with jerks. And here, or with long cycle or kettlebell sport in general. And here I'm at the 30s, double 30 kg. And I think I'm doing 10 and then moving on to the last set with the 32s. Yeah, obviously not everybody has that many bells to train, but you can still do ladders and pyramids with less bells. So when I trained in Austria, for example, I only had 3 bells most of the time, 16s, 20s and 24s, and I did pyramids all the time. So you do one set at 16, one set at 20, one set at 24, and then you go back down 24, 20, 16s, and you have done 6 intervals, and you can repeat the same thing and you will have done 12, right? Or you could do 16, 20, 24, 16, 20, 24, and basically repeat as often as necessary. So there are really many ways to combine the set length and the weights and arrange everything to get different training effects, but it's not really an exact science. It's really just accumulation of volume. Get the adaptations in the muscles, get the skill adaptation, the skill acquisition, the motor learning, get really good at the movement, the pacing, etc. And here I'm doing the last set with the 32s, and I really tried to accelerate, but there wasn't much there at this point. I did 10 reps, I thought I would get 12. I did 6 in the first 30 seconds. And then pace dropped in the second half of the set because I was just empty. Yeah, but that's always a fun one. All right, guys, see you guys next time.